Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. Now, apologies, I was meant to make a trade video last week and I didn't get around to it. I actually didn't even work out what I was going to do for my final trades until right before Friday's game. And then I just didn't have any time from there. By the time I got to Saturday, there was really no point. So, yeah, apologies for that. I'll try and do it this week, but I am going to Melbourne, so it might be a bit hard. But, yeah, I'll see what I can do. Now, scored a 1,934 for the week, and I'm actually not unhappy with that. The team did well. I just made a couple of errors myself, and yeah, in the end, I pretty much halved my rank, so I was happy with that at least. We'll have a look at the team, and after that, I'll run through the games one by one again, like I did last week, and then at the end, I'll run through some potential trades, I think. So yeah, the team wasn't too bad, as you can see. Just these errors, like putting the captaincy on Sheasel. Originally it was going to go on Dawson, because I didn't want to take TDK's 104. I got cold feet about Dawson because I thought Redmond was going to tag him. And it never happened at all, which is bizarre, because Redmond's a pretty good match, I think, for Dawson. And Dawson to break tags gets sent forward, and Redmond, obviously, he's a defender, which is why he was tagging Day. So yeah, it made no sense why they didn't do that, because Dawson absolutely shredded Essendon. But anyway, yeah, I guess I left, what's the difference here? About 85 points on the field with that stupid choice. So you can see why I'm not unhappy with the team. It would have got me up over the 2,000 mark. But yeah, Sheasel, I don't know what's going on with him. He's getting less midfield time. I'm obviously not going to trade him out or anything, because this happened last year. He went into the midfield, he had a couple of down weeks, and then he just got back to what he was doing. So I got faith that he'll be fine, but it hurts this week with the captaincy. The thinking behind it was that I had a feeling that North would do well against Melbourne, and I thought if that happens, Sheasel's going to have to be heavily involved for that to happen. And it was right, but he just wasn't involved much at all. And to be honest, he's lucky he even got 81, because he was scoring terribly, and a lot of that was junk time at the end. He really looked like he was going to score like a 65 or something. So yeah, bit of a absolute disaster averted there, but it could have been a lot better. Really happy with Clark though. Just looks like the main man back there. They're not using Ryan anymore as much, and yeah, Clark's just like, he's got a well-rounded game. He's intercepting, he's getting the hard ball, he gets the outside ball, he's a safe kick, all of that. Now, people said in the pre-season they wouldn't pick him because he had no upside. It's only early, it's been 2 games, but already he's averaging, 10 points more than last year or something like that, and hopefully it's going to continue. No guarantee, obviously, but yeah, this is why I picked him. Had him since the start. Roberts was really good. Sucks he's got the bye this week, but I stand by what I said last week. He could be a top 6 defender, like a keeper. So yeah, to get him at that price is really good. I think people should be scrambling to get him now. Not like these two though, Short and Perryman. So another bad judgment call here. I decided to keep them for another week because I was haunted by last season. I had Martin and Young to begin with, and I traded them out in round 1, I think both of them. And yeah, I didn't want to do it because I thought these two could come good and I'll be in the same position again. Well, they didn't, and I think the difference here is that these two just don't have the role. So Young and Martin last year at least had the role, but they got thrown out because they butchered the ball. But Short, he doesn't have the role at all. I don't even know what his role is. He's not getting hard ball. He's not getting outside ball. He's not taking kick-ins. And Richmond also, they're not playing that slow kind of play with the chip style that Uze said they would. They're going full run and gun, which I fully admire. Like as a footy fan, it's really good to see the young guys actually having a crack. They're not just trying to keep the score down. They're actually trying to win the game, and that's good. But in Supercoach terms, that's not good at all for Short and for any idiot that picked him like me. I can't believe I got sucked into it. Yeah, it's a good learning curve though. Perryman as well, so he's lost that role. Yeah, regret hanging on to him this week. Even when he was down back, he just didn't even look like he wanted the ball. He wasn't spreading or anything like that. I don't know what's happened with him. I guess he wasn't a standout to begin with, but yeah, took the punt to try and keep defensive rookies off the field because really there were none. But now they're starting to appear, of course. Yeah, speaking of rookies, Pryor wasn't too bad. The 57, I'm not disappointed with that at all. Obviously, he scored better than these two, so made the right call there, which is nice. And he had it hard, like the way the ball was coming in all day. What the Crom scored like 161 or something in the end. So the ball was on his head. There's not much he could do. They were just walking it in. So yeah, that's fine. I think his job security is pretty good. Like he was shaky 1-on-1 in round 1, but yeah, he looked a lot better on the weekend. Reed, however, didn't. He got absolutely bitched by Fogarty, and there's no shame in that. Fogarty's a huge dude, and Reed's still quite young, and he hasn't put on the kilos, but yeah, he's a bit of a traffic cone. Still got good job security, I think, but yeah, if he keeps getting beaten that easily, I reckon Laverde, he could come back in. Or if they got another one, I think there might be another tall defender. Ridley's got to come back at some point, although he doesn't really play the lockdown role. So yeah, Reed wants to watch out. But I think overall, pretty decent job security. He's just going to be a slower burn on the bench. If he makes us 100k, we'll take it. But yeah, we have seen in the past he can score okay. Chainor I'm more forgiving of because, second game. This is going to happen. We're going to get these really low weeks, and that's fine. Another slow burn on the bench. Now I was thinking of getting Bice on the weekend just gone. I was going to go Perryman to Bice, but I thought no, I'll wait and watch him another week because he's got the bye. But I think Traynor may end up being a straight swap for Bice, or even Reed. Just if Traynor puts in a good score, then I'll hang on to him. But yeah. Wait and see, but I have to get Bice in after his bye for sure before his price shoots up. I think his job security is pretty good too. Like the way he's played in that game and a half. I don't give a shit if Cunningham is knocking on the door. You get someone else out before Bice, unless Cox is crazy. So now to the midfield, and Brayshaw was a bit disappointing. Like, you'll take the 106, that's fine, but I picked him expecting more than this. Yeah, it's not great for his price. What's his break even? 125. He could easily get that against West Coast, and then we're fine. I'm not so worried about the money with these kind of guys because you pick him as a keeper, and we know what he's like. He'll probably have a huge second half of the year, but yeah, I was banking on the big year all round. It still could happen. We'll see. But yeah, if he drops like a 130 or something on West Coast, then yeah, happy days. We're all good. I hope he's not carrying some kind of injury again, as he was last year, because that was why he started slow there. And that 106, that could have easily been lower too. Like, he didn't get as much ball as he normally does. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, he should be good against West Coast, so I'm not too worried. Dawson, as I said before, he's killing it. If I had to pick one negative with this, his impact on the games is not being reflected in his Supercoach scores, and that's because his disposal efficiency is down again. I don't really know why. Even when he's in space, he's missing easier kicks now. So I don't know what's going on there, because when he first got to the Crom, he was one of the best kicks in the comp, and he still can be. He still hits absolute darts, but there's just some shockers in there as well. But yeah, at his price, I'm totally happy with that, with the 113 average, and he'd have 6 Brownlow votes right now, surely. Oliver returned to, what we picked him for. We thought that he'd be up around this 110 mark. Yeah, he was a bit quiet in round 1, but he didn't get much help on the weekend. Gawn, Petrarca, they were both having down games, and North midfield actually is pretty good. It bats deep. It's not the best in the comp, but it's pretty damn strong. And give it 2 years, it probably will be the best in the comp. But yeah, Oliver did pretty well considering he was almost a lone hand in there, I thought. So yeah, it's good. Chera I was worried about because if you've ever owned him, you'd know that he usually starts big in games and then his second halves he's a bit quieter. So when he wasn't absolutely killing it at half time, I thought, oh, we might be in for like an 80 or a 90 here. But yeah, in the end, he come home well. So 113, I'm pretty happy with that. All of these guys here, like Oliver, Chera, Callahan, those mid prices, I guess you'd call them, they've all repaid me really well so far. Callahan obviously didn't play on the weekend. He had the bye, which sucked, but what can you do? He's been really good so far. Yeah, you'll notice that Caleb Daniel was in that slot. That's purely because why was that? Oh, I wanted to put Stone in so I could get the Davidson 72, and then because Garcia was the sub, because I did decide to hold him because with his price, he's my ticket to Baz, or at least I thought at the time. And then, yeah, I had to field Hall over Garcia. I'll get to Hall later because that was a bit of a weird one with him. But yeah, Daniel, he scored how we wanted him to score. If he can keep doing this, he'll be a keeper. Probably have it a little bit harder against the Crom this week because I think traditionally they're pretty restrictive of half-back types. But yeah, see how he goes. That's all right. I think for that price, who cares? Like if he can average 90 or even 85 at that price, who cares? Like he's going to make money at the very least. Garcia, as I mentioned, oh, hang on, I've skipped this bottom row here, haven't I? O'Driscoll is really good. Everyone should have him. This is far exceeding my expectations of what I thought he would get. I thought he might average like 70, 75, and I would have been happy with that. But yeah, this has been a hot start. So hopefully, like I don't see why he would, but hopefully Longmuir doesn't drop him for Fife or something. That would just be insane. Like Fife's cooked, and someone like O'Driscoll he's the future, and he's playing well now, so it would make no sense. There's always going to be that nuffy risk factor, though, I think, with a guy like Longmuir. Now, Ashcroft I bought in this week for Flynn. As soon as I found out that he was out, I'm not playing that game. I'm not, because he was in my flex. I'm just not sweating it each week whether he's going to play or not. Like, BJ actually looked pretty good on the weekend, I got to say. He definitely held his own against Big O. So, yeah, he won hit-outs and stuff, which Flynn couldn't do. And Flynn in round one just spent a lot of time laying on the ground, I thought. Like, he goes to ground too easy. So, yeah, BJ, maybe he's overtaken him again. But, yeah, I'm not playing that game. So, Ashcroft came in. He was pretty good. Like, for that price, you'll take it. Even if he averages 70, that's good. He's just one of those that he'll start in the half forward. It doesn't matter if he's not getting CBAs. He just runs around screaming for the ball. So, yeah, he's just going to keep getting more and more of it, I think. Nevitt was a bit down, but I'm still enjoying what he's doing this year. Not worried about him at all. He had a fair bit of the ball, I think, but his disposal efficiency let him down. I could be wrong about that. Just let me check. Yeah, he ran at 56%, so it's not great. So yeah, Garcia, he was named as the sub, which was a bit of a shock. Like, we knew that he didn't get the huge game time the week before the CBAs that we're expecting, but to then get named the sub was pretty crazy. And unfortunately, it worked for Ross, so they got the win. Now, yeah, I held on to him because the plan was to get him to Baz this week rather than just have the cash sitting there. Yeah, I'm not going to do that now, I think, and I'll explain that later when I get to the trades. But yeah, Garcia will still go. Campriali, he's going to be a slow burn on the bench, or at least a slower burn. I can see a game, though, where he's going to get like a 70 to 80 kind of score. He does seem to get it, and it's kind of how wingers are. Like, if there's a game where it's going down one side and that happens to be his side, we should expect a pretty good score there, and then we can cash him out as soon as possible. Now, This one I'm so undecided on in the ruck. So Darcy Cameron. Now the plan was to get him and hope that Cherry, being up against those more restrictive rucks, would drop price, and then I could go, like if Cameron made a bit of money, I could pretty much go sideways to Cherry. Obviously, I think Cherry's going to outscore Cameron for the year. Wasn't stupid enough to think I was picking Cameron as a keeper, but yeah, he's doing what I wanted. So I thought I could get like a 110 to a 115 out of him before getting Cherry, but Cherry, unsurprisingly, he's gone and scored really well so far. I need a floor game out of him so that this can happen. It's not really a surprise though, because when I did that video a while back on the rucks versus opponents, like ruck versus ruck, Cherry tunned on, I think, all of those restrictive rucks last year, so it shouldn't really be a surprise. I've kind of messed up there as usual, going against my own advice, but it still could work out. And you know, if the worst case scenario, Cameron just keeps like averaging 110 or 115, I can fix that up later if I have to. It's not the end of the world. De Conning, he could have had a huge score. I can't even remember why. It looked like he was going to have a big one, and then he just kind of petered out to 104. So he kind of stuffed me up because I didn't want to accept that as VC score, which is why I went Sheasel. So thanks a lot, TDK, but you know, that's my fault, not his. And Boyd got dropped, obviously. Kind of handy because now we can have a R3 that might play occasionally, but will probably be that loophole. So yeah, it's not too bad, I guess. It was probably a bit of a pipe dream thinking that he was ever going to be anything more than that. Horn Francis was bloody disappointing. Now I know he's playing a lot of forward line because, you know, Ken put him there, and that's not his fault. But oh my god, just his attitude out there is horrendous. Like, I can see why some of the North guys were so happy to see the back of him. Yeah, it just wasn't good. He didn't score well. I don't understand how you can play against Richmond. Like, he looked $1 million in pre-season, and I don't know, he just looks like someone that's a bit like Harley Reid when it's not going all his way. He just wants to fight and stuff like that. So I'm not worried enough to trade him out or anything because he will come good. I think he'll be top 6, barring any surprises with DPP and stuff. But yeah, it's not been good. Anyone that faded him, well done. Yeah, I didn't see this one coming. I didn't see this coming either. McRae, bloody hell. He's back to like vintage McRae. He's actually a captain option now, which is nice because I don't have a hell of a lot of them in the team. But yeah, 162. What was Bevo thinking, honestly? Now he's got Richmond, so he probably will be a captain option or VC this week. I haven't really thought about that. But yeah, great to see him back. I know that he's slowed down a little bit, but with that inside pig role that he's playing, he doesn't need to be quick anymore, or as quick. So yeah, I'm really happy for him as well, because I've always liked him as a player, and getting that second chance somewhere else and absolutely shoving it in Bevo's face. It's good to see. So, Thilthorpe, he's definitely a pod. What's he owned? He's pretty low owned. Be like 1% probably. Yeah, 1%. I've been really happy with him. So, yeah, this 98 average, and he was the guy that I went instead of Baz because I thought he'd outscore him. Technically, he has so far because Baz has missed the game. But even if Baz had played, I don't know, it's pretty unlikely that he would have backed up that 140. So even still, Baz would probably be ahead. But yeah, got lucky there. It was one of the reasons why I faded Baz is because I think that they're going to rest him when they get the chance, and any little thing like that like that calf injury or whatever it is, they're not going to play him through it. So yeah, it's worked out all right so far. I don't know if Thilthorpe's going to be a keeper, probably not. But at that price, like he's going to make money. What's his break even right now? His break even's 12. So North's tall defenders, apart from Comben, they're not that great. So I expect that he should score pretty well on the weekend again. And then, yeah, when the time comes, if he needs to become someone else, he can. But it feels good actually getting a pod that started well. Because normally you pick a pod and you can be real confident on it. It just never bloody works out. Power Pepper was... He had a better game. It's what we picked him for. It was only Richmond though, so don't expect this every week. Yeah, he'll be gone pretty soon. He may be my ticket to Baz, depending on how he goes this week. But I'll explain that later. Stone, obviously, with the bye, he was just the loophole to get Davidson's score. Now, I fielded Hall because of the Garcia thing, obviously, and I backed in Hall over Hewitt, which was kind of stupid, but Hall looked much better in round 1 against the Crom. And I thought if he can just snatch a couple of goals, we'll be alright here. But he had the weirdest positioning. Like, he always seemed like he was near the ball, but never actually in the contest. Like, he was always, he'd get to it, but he'd be a couple of seconds too late kind of thing. And then when I checked his heat map, it was the weirdest heat map I've ever seen. Let me get it. So here's his round 1 heat map where he scored the 75 or whatever he got. Obviously starting on the wing at times, and then he's got this nice forward time here where he obviously got his couple of goals. And you can see, yeah, there's good variation here. But then if you look at this week's heat map, it is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, what the hell is that? What position even is that? That is just bizarre. How are you meant to score well just sitting here? Like, what would you even call that? Like, wing, half forward? I don't even know. I guess it's a wing, but it's really wide. So, yeah, that was horrible. And I regret bringing him in because Ross does strange things, but I don't know why this is happening. But yeah, he came in for Hasty because I think Hasty's basically dead at this point. I don't think he'll be back in for quite a while, if at all. So I just wanted to get Hall in. I thought, maybe he could snatch those couple of goals, as I said, and he might make us some money. And plus he's got the DPP, which was appealing, but yeah, not the greatest decision there. We'll see what he does this week against Richmond, though. Probably won't field him. I think I'll loophole him somehow, something like that. Yeah, Hewitt, I don't mind. He looks like he really has a crack. It just doesn't translate to Supercoach points too well. But yeah, if he can keep going at this average 55 at that price, that's fine. He can just be a slower burn. I've got no interest in fielding him unless I absolutely had to. But yeah, again, the DPP, sort of, got it here between these guys, like Daniel and Garcia as well, even though Garcia is about to be gone. Yeah, it's been handy flicking things around. And then Davidson, the 72, that's really good. But that's the nature of playing on the wing, same as Campriali. I mentioned it before. There's going to be weeks like last week where it's just not going to go down your wing, and then there's going to be the weeks like this week where obviously it went there more and more opportunity to score. So he looks really good though, like real good intensity and work rate and stuff like that. It's the kind of player that Bevo loves, so I think his job security is through the roof. I wouldn't worry about him getting dropped or anything like that. And then lastly in the flex is Sardis. So decided to keep the faith with him because his points per minute is so high. He doesn't need to get massive like Tog. And yeah, I'm glad I held him because that 78 was pretty handy. But now he's got the broken finger or whatever it is. Hopefully it's not going to be as long out as the Tanner Bruin broken finger. Not going to say anything else there, but yeah, I'm going to hold Sardis for this week as long as it is only a week. If I hear anything else that's longer than that, he's gone. But yeah, 1 week I'm happy to hold him. I think he'll score all right. He's going to make us money. Like, he'll do it at least enough to make 150k, I think. So yeah, that's the team. So I'll run through the games now and see, others that aren't in my team, have a bit of a talk about them and stuff. And then, as I said, we'll come back and I'll show my planned trades for the week. So we'll start with the first game first, obviously. Wasn't a bad game. Carlton were a lot better than the week before. Same amount of scoring shots in the end, but yeah, Hawthorn just managed to score a bit easier, I think, in the end. They're going to be up there. I don't think Carlton's going to be top 8. They're probably going to be around that 10th spot. But, you know, it's only early yet. Anything can happen. Another good one out of Hewitt, 123. So he's another one of those sort of mid prices that if you picked him up, you'd be really happy with him so far. I don't know how Walsh got to 100. He looked horrible. Oh, he's a bit of a turnover machine. Don't know if Carlton are that relevant in terms of Supercoach. Silvani dropped off a bit. He looks good though, like actual play and stuff. Yeah. I know there was some that started him at the start of the year. Well, they're at least talking about it. I don't know if they actually went through with it. But he still could come good for his price. I think he was around 300k. But yeah, much better options out there. Anyone looking to get him in now would be crazy. There's not a hell of a lot. That's a down game even for him. You'd be spewing if you picked him. Where's Doherty? 73. Yeah, I think he's finished. 53% efficiency. That's low. He used to be really good like that. I don't know why Cooper Lord was the sub either. He was really good the week before. I think he got subbed out. But Michael Voss is just, I don't know, he makes some odd decisions. I'd be real pissed off if I was a Carlton supporter, but I'm not, luckily. But yeah, Lord really has a crack, so I don't know what this was about. Maybe there's a fitness problem there or something like that. Moving on to Hawthorn, and yeah, Newcomb obviously the standout. I still wouldn't pick him. Carl Amon though, now that's a good pod pick. I think he's turned up in both games, or they've had 3 games now, haven't they? So yeah, anyone that picked him, yeah, well done, because I didn't really see that one coming. This is what we expected last year, and it didn't really eventuate. Ward's one to keep an eye on. So what is he? He's a forward, I think. Hang on. No, he's a midfielder only, but he's only 280k. He's averaging about 93 at the moment. So I think he's got a break even of like minus 25 or something like that. So yeah, he's one to keep an eye on if he can keep going like that. Although, see, these guys kind of get cancelled out when you have these good rookies in the midfield. You don't really need these kinds that are, you know, they sound good in theory at their price. They're averaging well above, which is good, like low 90s. But yeah, those, if you go, what is it, point per dollar, then yeah, the rookies are going to be better bang for buck in the end. Sicily 99. So yeah, he went forward, didn't he? 1 goal. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be too annoyed with a 99, but yeah, you probably want higher. I mean, he's priced higher than that, so if you got him, this is probably just a roller coaster that you're gonna have to lock yourself in for. Will Day 76. That would hurt anyone that got him. I mean, I nearly got him after that first game. He obviously became Callahan before lockout, but geez, like, you'd be real disappointed with this, especially 26 touches. You'd expect better than 76. Kind of knew it though. After that first game, once the hype had died down, like, when is he going to get that many goals in a game and stuff? It's pretty rare. So yeah, probably did see this coming. I mean, not the fact that he was going to be having these 76 games 2 weeks in a row, whatever it's been, but just that he wouldn't sustain that large average, I think. Dylan Moore, 57. That's good. It's really good for all of us that don't own him, because he's probably going to be top 6 forward. So we should be able to get him cheap, I reckon. Another one of those would be nice before we get him, but yeah, he'll probably bounce back. That's about it for Hawthorn. Neither of these teams are hugely relevant, I think. Now the Dogs, they look like they could have used, I don't know, a Dunkley, a McRae, a Daniel, a Baz, one of them. But, you know, they pushed them all out the door. Anyway, It was a good game, actually, until the umpires intervened. Now, it's probably going to piss a lot of Collingwood supporters off, but, you know, just to use one example, and I know this isn't Supercoach relevant, but I'm going to say it anyway. At the end, when Dacos just walked across the line and he wasn't done, and yet I think it was Bailey Dale copped that deliberate out of bounds. Like, where's the consistency? You'd be feeling pretty hard done by as a Bulldog supporter there, and, you know, I would say even the most one-eyed Collingwood supporter would see where I'm coming from, but I've seen a lot of Collingwood supporters out there that I can confidently say, you know, you could shoot someone right in front of them and they'd say it wasn't murder. So anyway, Libba did really well, 142. He's the main man in there without Bont and Treloar's out for another extended period now. So, I mean, I spoke about Libba in the pre-season, how kind of, like, once Bont went down, we could kind of see this happening, that he would be the main man, he'd score well. But it's just the one thing that he's one concussion away from his career ending. So, I mean, I can't take that risk. I don't think anyone really should. So, and I know that the team of the week this year had him in there, but you can clearly see, given their overall ranks like 150,000, that they made that team this week just to try and get the weekly prize. So, yeah, there wouldn't be too many serious teams out there with Libba, I think, just given that concussion risk. Bailey Dale, he was really good. Now, the problem with him, we see these scores, but then, you know, you'll cop a 60 or something another week, so it kind of evens out in the end. He's pretty appealing, though, at 520k or whatever he is. I've seen a lot of people bringing him in. I don't know if I want to do it. He's certainly in consideration, but yeah, I think because I've got the money to do it, I might bring in someone a bit more consistent. Darcy it was a huge game, actually, but yeah, we thought he and Thilthorpe would probably both break out this year, or at least one of them would, and it looks like both of them are scoring pretty well so far. So, yeah, Thilthorpe yet to break the ton, but yeah, Darcy, the 117, that's pretty good. He's just so hard to outmark. You just put it up high, and if he gets a full stretch, I don't know who's going to stop him. Like, even Darcy Moore, who I think is like 2 meters tall, even he couldn't get a fist to it. So that's pretty insane, because Moore's pretty athletic as well. 113 from English. He kind of saved that one. He was looking pretty bad there, probably around half time. So anyone that picked him, you'd have to be happy with that recovery. Ed Richards, 105. Probably not doing as well as people expected, I reckon. But he can have those absolutely huge ceiling games as well. So, yeah, you wouldn't be unhappy with him either. Fraser, he got saved. So I think he got about 20, 30 points for that last goal. So really, I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row where he's kind of been bailed with scaling. Like, he's been on shitty scores at half time. So this is a massive trap, I reckon, because, you know, what's the odds of him doing that a third week in a row? You're probably going to be looking at a lower score. Now you got Dale at half back, just, you know, accumulating here. And when Fraser does go in the midfield, as he's been doing, clearly he's not the main man. So he's kind of caught in between. So he's done well, I think, to score what he has so far, but I don't think it's sustainable long term. Sanders, a disappointing one for anyone that owned him, 62. It's pretty safe now to say that he was a trap, so glad I didn't go down that road. But yeah, he could still come good. Who knows? He's young. Yeah, he handballs way too much though. I think I said it in pre-season. Like, he can find the ball, but he just handballs heaps. So it's not going to translate to great Supercoach scores, even when he is finding it. It's probably only a matter of time before he gets bevoed as well. But maybe the fact that of the injuries might save him. But yeah, Bont should be back pretty soon. I can't see anything else here that looks relevant. Dolan looked alright when he come on, but I mean, he's played 65% in the end and he's not scored well. But yeah, he absolutely had a dip. Collingwood, another not very relevant team in terms of Supercoach. So Dacos 125, that's decent. Again, 39 touches for 125. This is why I did that video in the pre-season about the points per disposal. So guys like Dacos, Their score is really vulnerable to a tagger because unless they're getting massive, massive disposal tallies, they're not going to score well. You put this down to say he gets like a 20 touches or something. He's not even going to ton. So, I don't like that, but he gets these on the regular, I guess, like this amount of disposal. So it's not the end of the world. Still going to be a good pick when we get him in for like 550k or whatever you reckon. Maybe around round 6, something like that. Be crazy not to get him. Cameron, I've talked about. Pendlebury, good bounce back. Not Supercoach relevant though. Josh Dacos, so he's kind of just like stuck in that in between. He's not, I don't know. He's not what we thought he'd be with that halfback flank role. Houston isn't either. Maybe they're just cancelling each other out. So I know Houston did well last week, but yeah, I wouldn't be picking either of these two. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to string it together consistently. And I owned Houston last year, and he was just a roller coaster. It was quite annoying to own him, actually. Especially because for some reason he's normally lower owned than a lot of the other primos. De Goey's back. It doesn't do much, I guess. Ned Long, so he was the sub, come on real early, so he's got 75% game time in the end. Only a 57, which I guess kind of, for anyone that did bring him in and was stuck with him, it's kind of a bailout, the 57, like that's not the end of the world. I mean, Perryman got 57 and he's a lot more expensive. So not much here. Cox was back as well, which kind of is going to make you nervous, or make me nervous being a Cameron owner. But yeah, we saw from the second half of last year that Cox just plays that backup ruck. They're settled on Cameron now. Cox plays forward mostly. And yeah, Cameron gets that I don't know exactly what the split is, but it looks like it's about 75-25, something like that. So yeah, no problem at all. He had Cox in the team second half of last year when he went on his really good run, so not worried about that. I'll try not to spend too much time on this game. I did really enjoy it for obvious reasons. I'm trying not to get on the hype train either because honestly, I just don't trust it yet. But yeah, so Essendon ended up with 100 points, which actually wasn't too bad, and led by Merritt, 145. I think he was underscored. If they had have won that, he probably would have got close to 200. So 36 touches and 4 goals won. And I think I just saw today that he only got 4 coaches' votes, which is crazy. Anyway, yeah, he had a slower start to the season, so that's what you'd be wanting to see if you did pick him. Hopefully we'll get him for cheaper later on. Caldwell continued his hot start, so 118. Oh man, if there wasn't so many midfield spots sewn up right now, I would be looking to get Caldwell in. He's getting huge CBAs, like by his standards, and he's finding the ball. Like he looks like his game's gone to another level. So it sucks because I did look at starting him and I chickened out in the end. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it all comes out in the wash in the end. It allowed me to do something else somewhere. But yeah, definitely got an eye on Caldwell. He looks the goods. Martin pretty quiet. He was really quiet actually. I think it was only towards the end that he really saved his score. Let's see, who else they got? Not a lot. Hobbs 44. Oh geez. Hope no one fell for that trap. Kako 34. So we knew this would happen. You know, he's going to be that classic small forward. I think he'll be a little bit more consistent than other small forwards we've seen. But yeah, these 34s, like, they're going to be pretty common. Even with 2 goals, that's not great. This is why I didn't pick him in the end. It was tempting, but, you know, he's got the good job security and stuff. Just can't trust those scores, though. It's going to stunt his money making too. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't get him. Now for the Crom. Crouch 143 from 73% game time. That's pretty nuts. Yeah, you can't really pick him though, just given the game time and stuff, I think. And there is uncertainty with the Crows midfield splits. But yeah, Crouch I don't think is really included because he's one of the mainstays there. He can only really play there. So yeah, I think 73% game time though, it's kind of higher than what he normally has. I think he's been high 60s or something lately. But who knows? If he could stick around 75%, he may be a pick. Keys 135, so he can have these kind of games. He scored the 4 goals. I don't know who his direct opponent was. Could have been Pryor. But yeah, Keys, if you remember, I said he had the highest post-buy average of any of this year's forwards last season. So it's kind of no surprise that he's done this. The only problem is in round 1, what did he get? Like a 70 something. So he's averaging about 100, I think. Just over 100. Not a bad pick, but yeah, he's awkwardly priced. He's like 400k or something. So one to keep an eye on for sure, because I think Crom are going to score a lot. It just looks to be the way they play. Like, you know, Essendon, they still got 100 points, but the Crom will just outscore them, you know. They're not playing a heavily defensive game. It's kind of just like, well, you can score, but we'll just score more. And I like it. It's good to watch. So hopefully they find a bit of a balance through the year with that. But yeah, it could be good for Keys. So I'll be keeping an eye on him still. Dawson I've covered. Saliga 108. He's going really well, but 2 goals again. Like, it's not going to happen every week. He's one of the more shaky ones, I think, with the CBAs. And again, he's one of the worst offenders for going missing in losses. So he scores way better in wins. And I mean, most midfielders do, but yeah, he has a massive differential between wins and losses. This one was nice, Tex. He's just farming score involvements and stuff. It was nice to stick that up Kane Corns, who said he wasn't best 22 anymore. I'm sorry, but, you know, if you got Fogarty and Thilthorpe performing and Walker is getting stuck with the third forward, I think that's pretty good for the team. Rankin subbed out, so there's no worry there. It was just a management thing. We know that he's somewhat prone to hamstring injuries and stuff like that, so it was good thinking by Nix. I don't often praise him or agree with a lot of his ideas, but that was definitely a good one, I think, because the game was cooked, so yeah, made sense. Yeah, Laird, we're seeing here, he's not scoring like he did when he was in the midfield, and, you know, just because he got the defense, or he's going to get the defensive DPP, sorry, like, he's not worth a pick. He's just not going to score enough. If you look back to when he was All-Australian, he wasn't, you know, his scores then in that position wouldn't have been top 8 defenders last year. So I don't see him even getting back to there at this age. I think he's like 31 now or something. Hinge was good. Rochelli's been good. 88. So, he got 4 goals. Wow, I didn't realise that. So his price, because he's pretty cheap. I think he's around 260k or something like that. Another one worth a look. Obviously, Crom aren't going to continue this, though. They're not going to score 25 goals a week every week. But yeah, he's worth keeping an eye on. They're the kind of picks as well. When everyone else is doing the same thing, if you can get like a Rochelli or a Keys or someone like, you know, no one would have had Keys post-buy last year, but if you can get a pick like that, that's the one that can rocket you up the rankings, because you're not going to win if you're going for overall rank by just picking what everyone else already has. You can't break from the pack. Good one from Miller too, 86. So he looked a bit shaky there in the first game, but this would have put him out to a pretty decent average. I think he needs to go 70, 75 to make 150k. So yeah, this will help. Just needs to hold his body together long enough to make the money. Well, you can see there's plenty of Supercoach relevancy with the Crom. Well, potentially anyway. Curtin 82, so he's 150k up forward. This won't happen all the time though, but yeah, it was good to see. Who else have we got? A bit of a quieter one from Worrell, but obviously the ball was zipping around. It wasn't in defence as much, so that's alright. He still looked really good. Yeah, Cumming and Peatling, they're not picks. Peatling's the one that's suffering, I think, with this CBA. split thing that's going on with the Crom. Even when he's in there, he's not doing how I thought he would. I still think, though, that Peatling will end up, by the end of the year, with more CBAs than Saligo, so watch that one. And then Draper as the sub. And what's this? He's got some kind of injury, does he? Oh, he came back out. Yeah, so he could stay in that role for a while, I think. I think it was Nix or one of the Crows' assistants come out through the week and said that he was good in that role, so it doesn't mean that he's going to come out of it anytime soon. So that was interesting, but yeah, he's probably one for the future. He might even drop price, I reckon. What's he, about 190k? So yeah, he's probably going to drop price. We can pick him up later, maybe when he becomes a bit more entrenched in the team. This was a good bounce back by Port. Richmond weren't ever going to have the element of surprise that they had on Carlton, but, you know, Port looked pretty horrible against Collingwood, so this could have gone either way, really. Like, I didn't think Port would seriously lose at home, but I thought Richmond might put up a bit of a fight and restrict Port a bit more. But as I said, they're playing that run and gun style from what I can see, so kind of opens themselves up for this kind of thing, these kind of scores. But yeah, Rosie 130, he was good. Kind of annoyed I didn't pick him, but I think he's limited. I don't think he's going to end up top 8. I think he's going to get injured at some point, and his scoring's going to fall off a bit once Butters is back and their draw gets a bit harder. So yeah, I wouldn't be expecting this every week. He's got pretty much no inside game to speak of. Just remember that contested possessions here, it's different to hard ball gets, so yeah, easy for him to fall off given that. And yeah, we're seeing here now what I predicted, that not one player would be taking Houston's spot or the points. It's going to be a case of a different one each week. So Burgoyne's gone big here. I know that he plays on the wing, but he tends to drift around half back as well. And then Farrell was pretty good, like 104. You got to remember this against Richmond though. And then where's the other one? So Bergman 77. Now, was it last week or? I think it was last week. He was the one that went big. It's just going to be a merry-go-round all year. Like, you're never going to get them all at once. I don't think any of them are going to be consistently good scorers. Farrell, I think, is averaging like 102, which is pretty good. But yeah, even him, like, I doubt this is going to continue. Willem Drew 123. I've got him in draft, so that was pretty nice there. Sweet 100. So I noticed last week he was pretty restrictive against Cameron. He's just really strong and makes it hard for the other rucks to really get like a good body position on him in the throw-ins. So yeah, Nank's a strong one too, and he's kept Nank right down here. They pretty much split the hit out, so yeah, that should tell you a bit. So it's not going to be like last year where we thought rucks they'd beat up on Sweet. He's obviously put on some muscle and stuff. Yeah, Power Pepper, that 83, that was good timing. Sin 82. I think Supercoach God has him, so you'd be enjoying that if he kept him. Yeah, Sin's the other one that he could be like part of that Houston replacement. The 3 or 4 of them that kind of just going to cancel each other out in the end, I think. And yeah, Horn Francis, that's horrendous. This Moraes kid looked alright first game. Don't know about his job security and stuff, although Finlayson got dropped for him, and I guess he looked alright, so yeah, keep an eye on that. 52. The problem is we got enough slow burn rookies for now. Now, I don't know if there's even anyone worth talking about at Richmond in terms of Supercoach. Short would have been the only one, but he's proven so far that he's pretty irrelevant. So, yeah, down game from Nank. That's fair shock, actually. Too bad if you went with him. He looked like he was going to be a good pick and stuff. And he still will be, I think. But yeah, that hurts, especially when you got like Cherry goes whatever he did. Yeah, I guess Gawn was down too, though, who was a popular pick, so not going to hurt as much. This is where I kind of got lucky with the Darcy Cameron pick this week. You know, he doesn't get like the 140 or anything, but he got by. He got me the 115. So yeah, that's where that is pretty good, I think. Yeah, there's really nothing here for Lawler 39. I've seen people trading him out already. Fair enough, he's pretty expensive. Jack Ross, here we go. So last week he got like 130, and then yeah, this week a 30. So that's why you don't get sucked into that one. The only way I would have considered him is if he was getting CBAs, and he's not. He's just being played as a forward, I think. So, Caleb Smith as the sub. Not very good though. Basically a half a footy. He got 19. Yeah, looks like we may have got bailed out of that one. He's popular in pre-season, but I guess Trainor's not exactly much better. So, what do you do? So this game was a big shock. I don't think anyone would have seen this coming. Hopefully all it does is adds a bit of validity to these claims that Crom are a contender. You know, they smashed St Kilda, and if St Kilda can beat Geelong, they can't be too bad. So I don't know. But yeah, led by McRae, obviously. Sinclair 145, so that hurts. I had him in my team all pre-season until we found out about the calf thing, and then had to take him out. Still one to keep an eye on, but if he keeps scoring like this, we're not going to get him cheap. He was pretty quiet last week though by his standards. I think he got like 95 or something, but yeah, definitely keep an eye on him. Rowan Marshall, he looked cooked last week, but this week he looked really good. I know obviously Geelong is pretty easy to score on, but I mean just in the game itself, he was moving around really well. Nas 113, that's pretty good. It looks like he's finally started to lift that scoring a little bit. Probably not as much as you'd like though if you picked him, but yeah, this is fine. I think it's pretty good. Zach Jones looked $1 million in the midfield. I don't understand that. Like, how do you let Zach Jones get away with looking that good? Nothing against him, but he's always just been like a role player, more of that like Power Pepper type player that tries to just use his physicality. But he was just bitching guys in that game, and he looked really good with the ball. So, oh yeah, I don't know. Like Geelong's midfield is, we know it's quite weak overall, but yeah, the system just didn't work this time. Still 106. I'm surprised he got there because he was pretty quiet. What else? Kama 78. That was nice to see. He's a natural defender, I think. I would abandon him being a forward, and I'd just play Kama down back from here. Not Supercoach relevant yet, but yeah, I can see it. I think that yeah, he's a defender. Yeah, not much else here. O'Connell, 4 touches. Like, oh, geez. For a 42, though, that's not bad. 5 tackles. Yeah, okay. Keeler, he looked alright, I guess. I'm surprised he didn't get subbed, though, in the end. Oh, Stocker got injured, did he? Okay, I didn't know that at the time when I was watching the game. And, Clark. See, Clark, this is the annoying thing with him. He scored a 41 and he only played 30% game time. The problem with him is that he just never gets a good run at it. He's always injured or something like that. So, yeah, he's one that kind of stands out every pre-season for pretty good points per minute with a low tog, but this is why. So, probably just give up on that one. It's never going to happen. And then Geelong. God, another team that's not real Supercoach relevant. Holmes pretty quiet, 91. He worked into it and had a pretty big last quarter though. Con O'Sullivan, 88. So I'll probably speak about him a bit more later. Look to bring him in. I don't know. He took a couple of pretty big intercepts towards the end though, so it's probably a bit of an inflated score. Even still, it would be a respectable score without that. Humphreys 80. Still got my eye on him. Was one in the pre-season. Again, a bit like Hunter Clark, but without the injury risk. The points per minute and scoring for his first year. And the lower TOG was really good. So it looks like his TOG is up here, I think, from last year off the top of my head. So, yeah, we'll see how he goes. DeConning 74, that's going to be disappointing for anyone that bought him in. I didn't do it. I don't trust him. I think his floor's too low, really, for a ruck. Yeah, there's something about it. The gut feel with that one was off, and I'm glad I didn't go there. He might do all right. Who have they got next week? Geelong. Who is it? Let's see. Oh, they got Brisbane. He's probably going to get monstered by Big O. Although I have noticed Big O, he's not nearly as restrictive as he used to be. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll be worried if you bought in SDK. Like, he's going to make a bit of money. But yeah, I think there's not going to be enough difference in scoring, if any, between SDK and like an O'Sullivan to make the extra money worth it. So I think O'Sullivan there, if you can get away with it, is the better pick. Good to see Jai Clark do all right, although I had him last year and he never did this for me, so a little bit annoying. But yeah, good for his career to actually look decent in the game. I think we can cross Cameron off of being any kind of consideration like for Supercoach anymore. I think he's hit that age where he's on the decline now. Neil looks good, but it doesn't translate to Supercoach, obviously, just the 5 touches. Yeah, and then Stewart with a 9. That's got to hurt. Lucky it was best 18. You could have been in some real shit for the people that owned him. But again, this is why I didn't pick him from the start, is because this kind of thing always happens. He cops a knock. He'll play through injury. I think he did it last week. He played through some small injury or something, or he came off and then back on. And then, yeah, this week he's got the PCL. Might only miss a week. He might not miss any now, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's just going to get more and more frequent as he gets older as well. So, yeah, that has paid off following the gut on that one so far. He'll probably turn around and average 110 from here on out and play every game and prove me wrong. But yeah, you got to go with the gut. That's what I've learnt. This was almost another big upset. Zorko 136, that hurts. He's going crazy at the moment. Might bring him in this week. We'll see. It's pretty hard to ignore, and he's still under 600k, but he won't be obviously for long when he's scoring like this. Lockie Neal returned to form, 133. So yeah, pretty good for those who started him after last week's disaster. He's not even averaging 100 though, so he should be a pretty nice price. Sometime soon we can look to bring him in, I think. Once the tag games have passed, there'll probably be more later in the season, but yeah, I know that there was a couple to begin with. McCluggage, I haven't looked at it yet. It'd be interesting to see the CBA splits here, because I think Will Ashcroft is definitely the third man. They're still persisting with McCluggage in there, which is good. I mean, that's what got them the flag last year, so... Dunkley 117, probably a bit unders for what you'd expect against West Coast, but you know, that's what he's like. He's more of that. You're going to see like a 115, 110 most weeks. The one that he scored last week, the 170 or whatever it was, that's pretty out of the box for him. So yeah, this is all right. I don't know how Will Ashcroft got to 104 in the end. I think only because the game was close. He would have got good scaling for the last quarter. He was on like 40 or something at 3/4 time, so... I actually switched the game over to the other one by this point. So yeah, I didn't see the last quarter. I can't really say how he got these points. Wilmot, another ton. He tonned last week as well, so one to keep an eye on. I know Fletcher's not Supercoach relevant, but he looks like a great player. Like, oh, he's going to be a great player. He's just... I don't know, he's a bit like Michael and even the Crows. He just looks like wise ahead of his years or something. Levi 72, I've already covered him. Bailey started off with absolute bang, and then he pretty much didn't score for the rest of the game. So, not that anyone would really have him, but he has been one of those that has always kind of teased us as potentially being a good pick one day. I don't think it's going to happen though. Yeah, not much there. 50 for Sam Day. He didn't look real good in terms of the eye test, so he's probably going to have a hard time keeping his spot. I think they might persist with kids or something. So West Coast, Clay Hall 88. Another one to keep an eye on. It's good because it's not going to be this week that we have to get him, but if he can keep his spot in the team, hopefully he can keep scoring like that. Looks like a lot of it's to do... I was going to say a lot of it's to do with scaling, but then I noticed 14 of his 15 disposals were contested. Interesting. Yeah, one to keep an eye on. Dewar was good as well, if that's how you say it. Probably doesn't have the right role, though, for what we're looking for. I think he's about 150k, so yeah, those midfield spots. Hang on, is he a midfielder or is he a forward? Let's see. Because it's getting to the point now where we've got good rookies in the midfield and there's less elsewhere. Yeah, he's a forward, okay. So it's kind of like a bit like last year where you've got these good midfield rookies. So it kind of closes down opportunity for other rookies in there. It'd be nice if they were split across different positions, but they're not. Baker 75. So he's a trap. This is what you're going to get with him most weeks, is like that 75 kind of score. It doesn't matter that he's playing half back. He's just never been a consistent scorer. I think it's the same kind of thing as Jaden Short. Like, what you see is what you get with him. Marriage 72. He looked like he was on the way to a nice big score, and he was playing that half-back kind of role that we expected. I think he was taking the kick-ins, so yeah, third tall he's playing here. 26 touches. Yeah, he's worth keeping an eye on, I think, but I don't trust the job security yet. West Coast do have quite a few defenders, I think, and they're still in that stage where they're probably going to roll through a lot of different players and then see what works. Harley Reid, another shocker. Jeez, he might end up leaving. His attitude's just not good. Hewitt 58, yeah, covered him. Oh, BJ got injured. Does that mean Flynn could come back now? Oh, just with cramps, okay. Oh, I do remember that now. Yeah, nah, there's no way Flynn's coming back, I reckon, this week. Unless they played both of them. But BJ, I reckon, got more hit-outs here than Flynn got in a whole game. And this was in a half. So, I mean, he just looked better eye test as well. Like, he actually was playing all right by his standards. So, yeah, I can't see Flynn coming back unless BJ gets injured or falls into really bad form or something. But you could see, like, the midfield just functions so much better. And it was against Brisbane too. Like, with BJ and the Ruck, he actually gets some taps, but Flynn's a bit of a waste of being in there at the moment, I think, just from what I saw in that first game. Oh, Archer Reid injured. Okay, maybe Flynn will be back. I don't know. But again, like I said before, this is just not a game that I want to play this year. I don't want to be worrying about, oh, is Flynn going to be in? Is he not? Like, oh, and then he'll have 2 weeks out and then he'll come back for a week or two. No, I'm happy that I got Ashcroft. I think it's just going to be quicker cash and he'll score relatively the same or close enough. So, yeah, not wanting the Flynn thing. I'm not going to regret it, I think. Now, no one saw this coming, I think. Well, not many people anyway. Like, yeah, I said earlier, I thought North Melbourne would do all right. Like, they'd play pretty well. And I thought Sheezel would be a big part of that, but he wasn't. So I was half right. But I didn't expect them to win. I definitely didn't expect them to win by 10 goals either. So this was crazy to watch. And it was good because I feel sorry for North. They've struggled for a long time. And, you know, they're not an unlikable club at all. Gotta love the battler, I guess. Cherry 136. The non-owners, we escaped here. He looked like he was going to go like a 180 or something at one point there. He absolutely pants Gorn. Now, I know we heard about the reasons why and stuff. I'll get to that later with Gorn. But yeah, he's Cherry's announced himself in terms of Supercoach. I think he's R1 now. Yeah, don't have too much to say there. I spoke about him before, like with the Cameron thing and all that. Just hope he drops a stinker soon so that he might drop in price and I can get him in with one trade. Tom Power 124. Don't get sucked in. I bought him last year, and yeah, I mean he scored an 80 last week, so he's pretty up and down kind of player, and he's awkwardly priced. So yeah, just don't do it. I think he's midfield only now as well. So the appeal of him last year was that he was a forward, and if you remember, the forward line was just bare. It was shit house. So yeah, Daniel covered him. LDU 108. I think the fact that all these other midfielders for North are standing up probably going to affect LDU as a pick. Not that I thought he was a great pick anyway, but I think it's going to lower him a bit. Simpkin 102. It's tempting, but I don't trust this for some reason. He's not in the first mid-rotation, but he just manages to keep scoring. I'm not sure how, and he was really good in the Indigenous game too, so I don't know. Definitely going to keep an eye on him, but he's going to go up in price real quick. So if you're going to bring him in, it will have to be this week. It's probably going to be a case of it's either him or Baz. And I don't think I'd want to bet against Baz again. I already did that and it didn't turn out well for me. So yeah, Simpkin also loves a good floor game that's really bad, like a 40 or something. Whereas I don't think Baz really, he doesn't really get those. So. Combin 101, big intercept marks there. 12 marks for the game. Jeez, not Supercoach relevant, but yeah, it's good to watch. Skip Sheasel because I don't need to talk about him anymore. It's pissing me off enough. Jack Darling 78. Seriously, he's doing well since he's gone to North. I'm happy to see it. What is the problem at West Coast though? That might be the question there. I suppose we'll see if he can keep it up as well. That's the other question. Yeah, McKercher 56. I don't know if there's many out there. I don't know what his ownership is, but you'd be spewing if you picked him. He just had that uncertainty of that role. Like, we knew he was going to be a wing or a half forward. He might get some half back time. Same as Finn O'Sullivan. That's why I didn't pick him either, so yeah, not good for him. 12 touches. You'd be wanting to get him out, I think. If you own him, he's like 190k, so he's probably got to go. Constanti, I saw people talking about him through the week about saying got to bring him in because he scored a 70. One score is not going to make a player a must-have. You want to see it backed up. So like Lindsay last week scored really well, and then he did again this week. So Lindsay is a must-have, but a guy like Constanti, especially with that role, like a small forward for what's probably going to be a bottom team, yeah, it's not must-have at all. Melbourne were horrible. Chandler, though, was really, really good. And Oliver, I think. But, yeah, Chandler really stood out. Yeah. Strange game to watch. I don't know. I think Goodwin's dead man walking, to be honest. Salem, 110. He did well last week as well. Stephen May's not there, so I don't know what happens. The only way that I can see May affecting Salem is the kick-ins. So I think Salem in the last 2 weeks has gotten like 5 per game. So what's that? You take that away, it's like 15 points. He's still averaging above 90, but if you look at where he's priced, it's just not worth it. To be honest, Bowie is the one that I was considering. He's more appealing. He's getting less kick-ins than Salem. And he did really good in the preseason games too, and he's consistent. He just keeps getting like these 95 type scores in the preseason games and the first 2 rounds. So he's like 300 and... let me check. I know he's low 300s. 337. So he actually is worth a look, I reckon. Now, I was actually considering bringing him in this week. I was going to, like, as an antipod to SDK. And it would have worked out all right for at least this week. But yeah, there's that uncertainty with the May thing. Because, like, even though Bowie's not getting as many kick-ins as Salem, he's still getting a few. But yeah, Yeah, if things had have been a little bit different, I didn't need certain other players. Bowie would be a great one to bring in as like that D5 or whatever right now. He's be slipping under the radar big time. Quiet one from Petrarca, 78. He's 52% efficiency. This is the reason why I've never really been a huge fan of the Petrarca pick. He's prone to drop these kind of scores more than other mids. And he spends a lot of time forward too. They like to use him as kind of like a key forward because they don't really have many or quality ones. And then, yeah, it really affects his score here because, he's not. He's a decent forward, but you can't have him playing as a key when he's just not. Lindsay, 78. So he is a must-have, as I said, and I'll explain it later, but how I'm going to do it. But he should be coming in this week. Henderson, 72. That's good at his price. I think he's only 99k, so should make pretty good money quickly. But I can't bring him in because of the way my structure is. So it's a choice of Lindsay or Henderson. But I think Lindsay is going to be the better scorer long term. Probably got better job security and less of a sub risk too. I think Henderson's definitely got sub risk. Yeah, Gawn, so 67. Now, if we remember though, back to last year in round 1, and Grundy gave Gawn a bath in the second half, and everyone said Gawn's finished. Well, I think you're all jumping the gun if you're saying he's finished this year. Like, there's still every chance that he's going to outscore Cherry. Now, he may not have beaten him one-on-one, but Gawn, we know, has a ceiling like no other. He can pump out 200s and shit. So, Goodwin, I don't know how true it is, but Goodwin said there was stuff going on outside of footy that was affecting Gawn. If that goes away, if it's fixed, anything can happen. He doesn't look like he's cooked to me. Cherry's a hard opponent for anyone, and Gawn's just got that unique way of destroying other rucks. Like a Lloyd Meek or someone like that. Gawn's probably going to put more on him than a Cherry is, so that's how he gets it done, and he ends up with those 120 averages. I still think those two will be R1 and 2. So yeah, there's no worry with Gawn here just because of one game. Like, it's not terrible. He's still got 27 hitouts and stuff. Bit better disposal efficiency. He's probably getting towards like 100 there, so it's not the end of the world. You'll still be looking to bring him in at some point. If you can get him cheap and flex, like, that's ideal. It gets pretty thin here. Jefferson got injured, did he? It must have been in the warm-up. He did play. Donuts in quarter 1, sub with hand injury. Okay. He's a key forward, isn't he? So that means they're down another one. That would be bad for Petrarca owners because that means Petrarca's probably going to have to stay forward more. I don't know why Melbourne haven't tried. I think like the last 2 seasons, clearly they've needed a key forward and they've just done nothing about it in the trade period and stuff. It's their own fault, really. Some dodgy shit going on at that club, I think. Or at least questionable. This was wasn't a bad game to watch, but score-wise it was pretty lackluster. Clark I already covered. He was good. O'Meara, I got to say, I thought he was finished, but he was actually pretty bloody good in this game. He can still play like that every week. He'll be all right. Not in terms of Supercoach and stuff, but yeah, just in terms of still playing. Covered Brayshaw. Sarong, 99. I don't know how he got to 99. He was well covered by Jordan. Jordan, I reckon, outperformed him too. And he only got a 66. 17 contested possessions. Like, I don't get it. He was way better than Sarong. Yeah, this is a wider problem, I think, in Supercoach that's starting to put me off the game. Just the uncertainty about scoring and how luck-based it is, and like the way that the smallest thing can make the biggest difference. Like, you kick a late goal or something, it could potentially impact like your whole average for the year, things like that. Whereas at least like with Dream Team or Fantasy or whatever, it's clear cut. Everything's clear cut. You know what you're up against. You can't, like, it's less easy to get bent over by the game itself. Supercoach is just so like unknown, and you feel like you're at the mercy of whoever's whoever's doing the points, or it's an algorithm, isn't it? Anyway, so even that, like, I don't like the way it's an algorithm. Yet weird things happen, and it's just too hard to predict. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but yeah, I've lost enthusiasm for the game itself probably over the past year just because of this and the problems in the scoring. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Yeah, Ryan 95, so that's lower. I don't think he's a pick anymore until he drops in price. Too bad if you started him, he's not doing what he was doing last year. Yeah, Clark I think's killed that a bit. It looks to be the main man. And Wagner, he is used as an outlet, gets the kick-ins as well. Ryan doesn't have a monopoly on him anymore. Murphy Reid a 75. So I think he scored higher this week than when he scored 4 goals last week, which is crazy. But yeah, he wasn't bad. If you started him, then he's actually turned out all right for the first 2 rounds. He was in my team for a bit in the pre-season and that, but I ended up taking him out for whatever reason. I think because his job security is a bit shaky. But they do rate him highly, so I think it's all right now. Bolton 57. So this is why you don't pick him. Like, we knew Fremantle weren't going to use him as much in the CBAs as Richmond did, because they've just got such a closed shop there. It's going to get worse too. So when Young comes back, they're probably going to go back to just using those 3 or 4, and probably Bolton won't get much in there. But yeah, he's just got such a low floor. I wouldn't pick him at any point unless he starts scoring ridiculously well. Erasmus, I don't know why anyone would still have him. I think we all got rid of him in the pre-season when it was free to do so, but yeah, pretty disappointing. He was talked up as a midfield option and stuff. It's not really happening. The Swans, most of them were pretty quiet. Roberts obviously was really good. Warner 122, he's up and down. Bice 96, this is the really nice one here, so I'm going to wait and get him after the buy. But yeah, I've seen enough that his job security should be good. Everyone should be looking to get him, I think. Especially he's 113,000, I think. So yeah, just get him in. He's getting kick-ins. He's just good. Just that real good rebounder. And Blakey didn't take everything this week, which was nice. So yeah, Roberts and Bice obviously got better scores. Heaney was clamped pretty well there. Who was it? Amira. So Amira has completely outplayed him there. 32 touches to 21 while tagging him. Yeah, that's not good for Heaney. We might be able to pick him up cheaper later as well. But he's mid only, so hope for DPP later in the season, I think. Corey Warner 56. So he'll make money. I think he already has. That was his 3rd game. He'll make some money, but yeah, long term, or longer term, I should say. You'd be a bit worried, I think, after that. I don't think he's got the greatest job security. And a 56, it's just whatever. I guess there's a lot of rookies out there doing the same, so it doesn't really matter which ones you have. They're all doing the same. Hanley, I've seen him get talked up. 38. Oh, geez. Yeah. I think Sheldrick's going to come in and take Hanley's spot eventually. He looks the better player. He's a bit more developed and stuff. And Wicks as well. So Wicks, he's the forward that made the transition to the back line this year. And again, like a lot of them have done, they've been forwards that turned into half backs. It's just not working out. He got an 80, I think, in the first game, and it's been 40s in the game since. So yeah, that's the games covered. Now I'll go back to the team and try and work out some trades. So what I'm thinking is Garcia going out for Lindsay. And this is, I don't care if Baz plays this week or not. I think this is what I'm going to do. So Lindsay comes in. And then Short and Perryman, they've got to go. I don't mind leaving Pryor on the field for another week. So Connor O'Sullivan, get him in because he's going to make good money. And then I can pretty much get any defender primo that I want here to sit in D4. Well, not D4, but you know what I mean. Be replacing my D4. So I could go like a Zorko, or I could go budget and go like Bailey Dale. Obviously with Zorko you pay a bit more, but you're getting more consistency. And then yeah, whatever I do, it's going to leave me enough money left over that next week, so even if Baz plays this week, I won't get him, but he's not going to raise in price. So yeah, the week after, I'll have enough money that probably Power Pepper will become Baz, I think. Or if Sardis is still out, it can be him, and I can just swap them so that that Baz can sit in the flex if he has to. Like, I don't know, I'll work it out, but that's the plan. I'm trying to look further ahead this year than I would in previous years. It's been a weakness of mine. Yeah, usually I'll get caught up in, I need to have that player now, and I don't look ahead at, how much money is it going to leave me left over, and then I get absolutely backed into a corner, and then like last year, you get to a certain point where your team's gone well, but you got no cash gen left and shit like that, and then you just lose interest. So I don't want that to happen this year. I'm trying to be a bit more measured about it and have a bit more foresight. So yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look quickly at these mids. So who's averaging the most? Zorko, obviously. Dale, Sinclair. So I'm still put off with Sinclair because of the calf thing. Whitfield. I don't think Whitfield's got the ceiling that the others have, like Zorko and Dale. But Whitfield's probably going to give you like that 115, 120 like every week. He also doesn't have the floor of a Dale. Salem, again, no, because we got May to come back, so he's going to lose like 15 points immediately. Amon would have been good to start, but this is the thing. I'm looking now already for, I only want keepers or like long-term players from this point on. So, you know, with barring exceptions, but you can get those players that are like 200,000-300,000 that kind of pop out of nowhere and go on a run, and you can cash in just for a couple of weeks and make like 100k. But yeah, this is not the time of year to be doing it. So yeah, it's going to be one of these. Probably Zorka, I reckon. Dale could get the Cottrell tag. I don't think Geelong's going to bother tagging Zorko, although, who knows? Who knows what bloody Chris Scott does? Yeah, who knows? But yeah, so even if I go Zork, I got 291 left over. So look, I haven't got the greatest rank right now. What am I, like 20,000 or something? 28,000? I don't know. But I'm actually happy with where the team's at, like structurally and everything. I think it's pretty good. So if let's say I do this trade, I'll complete it, because I'm now down to 35 trades, which isn't too bad, I reckon, considering the start. I don't mind using 5 corrective trades. So put Callahan back on the field. Daniel back to the forward line for, who's going to go? Hall's got Richmond, so maybe him. So maybe if I go like this. Get Stone on the bench. And then Lindsay for Sardis. Yeah, I'm happy with that for a week. We'll try and we'll see what happens with team selections, but I'd try and run a loophole somewhere. Let's see, captain. I know it's early to be talking about captain and stuff, but maybe keep the VC on TDK. He's got English, so that might be a weird one though, because I know TDK kind of plays better on those tankier rucks because he's so athletic. English he's athletic himself, so it might be a hard one. I'll have to look into that. Is there an obvious one here that I'm missing? Obviously Dawson against North could be a good option, but I wouldn't want to VC him that late. Probably Zorko against Geelong be a decent shout. Yeah, I don't know. I'll work it out. Oh, McRae against Richmond. Like, whoever would have thought would be putting the C on McRae again, but here we are. So yeah, and so the week after, if I do end up getting rid of Power Pepper, so it would be like Bice in back here somewhere, and it'd probably train off for Bice, and then he can go on the field ahead of Pryor, and then we get Baz up forward. That means my forward line then becomes Horn, Francis, McRae, Thilthorpe, Daniel, Baz, and then, you know, Davidson or whoever, or Hewitt or one of these. Like, see, I've got flexibility now, so I actually do like the team. Once I can get like a Cherry into here, I'll be real happy. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. You think I'm trying to be too optimistic or whatever, but yeah, let me know how you're going as well. It's a pretty long video, hour and 25, but yeah, as I said, there's no guarantee I'll get a trade video out, so I kind of had to cover it all before I go to Melbourne. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think overall, how you're going, and all that stuff. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And yeah, try and stay positive. I think it's 2 rounds in. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's all I can say. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video Thursday or Friday.